Hello and welcome to another video blog from home, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about how to create a good support team in the menopause. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all my new videos. The menopause can be overwhelming at the best of times with all the symptoms that you may be experiencing. It can be very difficult just to cope with everything and also cope with general life. But one of the things I've noticed over the years is that so many women say to me that they feel so alone. They feel like they're the only woman in the world who's going through the menopause. They can't talk to anybody about how they feel or what they're experiencing. And this can be a huge burden as well as having to deal with everything else. It can be very daunting talking to other people, but I thought today that I would give you a few ideas, some things that you can maybe think about in terms of having good support for yourself during the menopause. So number one is, are you supporting yourself? So many women are not even on their list of daily priorities. So this is really important, and I have talked about this on numerous occasions. You must put yourself first. Your body is going through so many changes. It needs extra support, it needs lots of TLC, and you're the first person that can help yourself. So look at your diet, lifestyle, stress management, all the things, little things sometimes that you can do that can make yourself feel so much better. Number two is family and friends. This is just as important, but so many women again tell me they find it really difficult to explain things. There is still this terrible taboo about being in the menopause, and a lot of women feel very embarrassed or even ashamed to say to people that they're going through the menopause, as if it's some kind of weakness. This is a phase. The menopause is something that we all have to go through one way or another. And so it's important to make sure that other people understand what's going on. And very often, if you think about it, here you are, you may be really moody, maybe irritable, you may be really fatigued, you don't want to do anything, you may find your motivation is gone, you can't be bothered even talking to people, you may feel ill with joint aches and pains or headaches or other physical ailments. Your family and loved ones are probably really worried about you, and they don't know what's going on. So sometimes just explaining to them very, very simply can make a huge amount of difference, and it can be a great relief for them knowing what's going on, and they can then support you instead of maybe being a bit irritated by your behaviour as well. So this is a really important one here, to try and get our loved ones to understand exactly what's going on. Number three is try and find a good doctor. I know in these trying times it's very difficult even to see a doctor, and women do tell me that their own personal doctor may not understand again what they're going through. They may not be able to give a great deal of advice. They may even be slightly unsympathetic. What you can do here, if you belong to a big practice, you can ask to change to another doctor, maybe see if you can find a female doctor. They may have more understanding, especially if they've been through the menopause themselves. Some practices have a nurse who specialises in the menopause, and some local health authorities have menopause clinics. So these are all avenues that you can explore instead of just feeling that you're not getting the right support from your local GP surgery. Number four is a personal trainer. I know this is one that may be expensive for a lot of women. Exercise is really important during the menopause, but getting the right sort of exercise for going through the menopause is really important too. And a lot of women are doing completely the wrong exercises and then wondering why it's not helping them with weight control or muscle function. So what you could do here is, if you have a group of you who are all going through the menopause, you could maybe club together for a few lessons just to make sure that you're doing the right kind of exercise, and that can make a huge amount of difference. Diet. So number 5, diet is so important in the menopause, and I've done video blogs on good foods for the menopause and bad foods for the menopause. But again, for a lot of women, it can be really daunting. Where do you start? What is considered bad foods? What are considered good foods? So if you are really struggling, if you're finding that your weight gain is a terrible issue, or if you're one of those women who's losing weight and you can't get it back on, then going to see someone such as a nutritional therapist can be a really good idea. You may only need 1 or 2 sessions just to get yourself on the right track. And again, if you are feeding your body well during the menopause, it can make a big difference to how you feel, both physically and emotionally. Number 6 is a good counsellor. For some women, the menopause can be an absolutely devastating time emotionally. It's not just about being in a bad mood or being a bit irritable. For some women, it can lead to severe depression, paranoia, and really serious other mental issues. For a lot of women too, past emotional situations can come back to haunt us. You can suddenly find yourself going over maybe traumatic things that happened in the past, and this is all to do with estrogen lowering our emotional control. So emotions that we have managed to bury quite happily can sometimes come to the fore and can often be really difficult to deal with. So in this situation, it's really important to get some kind of professional advice. And again, this can make a huge amount of difference to how you're feeling and how you're coping during the menopause. Number 7 is work. This can be a really difficult one, because if you're in an organisation that doesn't recognise women going through the menopause, then even just things like having to go to the toilet a bit more often, having to deal with hot flushes at work, having to deal with tiredness. If you have a physical job and you're having to get up really early and you haven't slept well, it can make a terrible difference to your work. If you have an HR department, then it's a good idea to go and speak to the HR manager and explain what's going on, and if there are things they can do to help you, such as a few more breaks, flexi time, a bit more support with temperature control in your office. And one of the things I found over the last few years, that I've had contact with a number of big organisations where I've been lucky enough to go and do some lunchtime workshops, is that they are taking women in the menopause extremely seriously, and the support they're giving their staff is absolutely fantastic. So if it's not happening with your work, then be the first one to instigate this. If you need any proof, then if you are in the UK, the TUC website has a section on supporting women during the menopause and all the legal things that may entail. So it's worth looking into this if you can. What you could do too is, if you work with a number of other women who you think may be going through the menopause, or you know they're going through the menopause, then you can maybe set up a little monthly coffee morning or lunch break, just so that you can have a little chat and maybe a moan or a cry about how things are going for you, and that can make a huge amount of difference too. When I started going through the menopause, or getting to the perimenopause, I just couldn't find anything. Books were very often so technical that they went right over my head. And this was one of the reasons I started doing these video blogs and doing a little bit of writing, was for other women, but also for myself. But today, things are so much better. The online resources are huge. You know, I'm still doing different video blogs every week, and on YouTube. We've got our playlist, so there's about over 200 videos on all sorts of aspects of the menopause. So I hope you found this one really helpful. There are so many things that, you know, just take a little bit of courage, jump in, speak to people, set up your own support group, and as I say, the difference it can make can be absolutely tremendous at helping you through the menopause. I would love to know if you have found something that has supported you. Is there something you have done that's made a huge amount of difference to your life? We would love to hear about it, so please share. And remember, I will see you next week for another A Vogel Talks Menopause.